Some people feel everything too deeply, not just their own emotions, but everyone else's too. The sadness in someone's voice, the tension in a room, the emotional heaviness behind someone saying, "I'm fine." Even when nobody explains what is wrong, they still feel it. And honestly, that kind of sensitivity becomes exhausting after a while, because people who absorb everyone's energy are usually the same people who secretly neglect themselves emotionally. They are always understanding others, comforting others, checking on others, trying to keep peace around everyone. But deep down, their own heart is tired, very tired, because carrying everyone emotionally slowly starts feeling like carrying the world inside your chest. And the painful part is, many sensitive people do not even realize they are absorbing everything around them. They just think, why do I suddenly feel emotionally drained? Why does being around certain people make me feel heavy? Why am I always mentally exhausted? But sometimes the exhaustion is not only coming from your own emotions. Sometimes you are carrying emotional energy that was never yours to hold. And honestly, people who absorb everyone's emotions often grew up feeling responsible for keeping emotional peace. They became the listener, the comforter, the emotionally available one. So now, even as adults, they automatically absorb pain around them without realizing how much it affects them internally. And after a while, they stop knowing where other people's emotions end and their own emotions begin. That is why emotionally sensitive people often feel overwhelmed in silence. Because while everyone else releases emotions outwardly, they absorb everything inwardly. Every negative conversation stays in their mind. Every heavy interaction affects their mood. Every emotionally draining person slowly steals their peace, and eventually their nervous system becomes exhausted, not because they are weak, but because constantly carrying emotional energy is tiring, especially when nobody notices how much you are holding internally. And maybe the hardest part is this: sensitive people often feel guilty for protecting their own peace. They feel selfish for creating distance, selfish for saying no, selfish for emotionally stepping back from draining people. So they continue sacrificing themselves emotionally until they eventually feel completely overwhelmed inside. And honestly, you cannot heal while carrying everyone else emotionally all the time. You cannot feel inner peace while constantly absorbing chaos that does not belong to you. At some point, sensitive people have to learn this. Understanding people does not mean destroying yourself for them. Being kind does not mean carrying everyone's pain inside your own heart. And protecting your energy is not selfish, it is necessary. Because constantly absorbing everyone's emotions slowly disconnects you from yourself. You become emotionally tired without understanding why. You lose your calmness, you lose your mental clarity, you lose the quiet peace your heart desperately needs. And maybe healing begins when you finally realize this. Not every emotion around you belongs to you. Not every problem is yours to solve. Not every heavy energy deserves access to your peace. And slowly, you start learning how to care about people without emotionally drowning in them. You stop carrying pain that was never yours to carry. You stop abandoning yourself just to emotionally save everyone else. And for the first time in a long time, your heart finally begins feeling lighter again.